Good evening. I'm calling the meeting to order. If you could please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance in the right direction. Mrs. Sugars, could you now switch roles again and call the roll for us?
Mrs. Sherfain,
Here.
Mrs. Gallagher,
Here.
Mr. Greenbaum,
Here.
Mr. Mayor,
Here.
Dr. Rude,
Here.
Mrs. Tong, Mrs. Winters,
Here.
Ms. Stern.
Here. Okay. And now we don't have any board recognition tonight, and we will move on. We have a presentation that we're going to defer for next week because it's icy out and we want to keep things moving. And do we have the professional development reports? Dr. Morton.
So Dr. Mayhem will provide an overview of our district's professional development offerings for this year. It's our flex option process. She is available virtually, and I see she's here. And I will turn it over to Dr. Mayhem.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you. As Dr. Morton mentioned, I'll be presenting briefly on the professional development offerings we have for the 2023-2024 academic year. So in the summer of 2023, the delivery of the flex option sessions was changed to maximize professional development time and to provide consistency in the message around training. A screencastify highlighting the changes was shared with staff. This was previously shared with the Board of Education. This is going to be a very quick overview of the flex options. And just as a quick reminder, flex options or the flex option day is in lieu of participation in the last in-service day of the academic year. So the flex option structure allows for staff to participate in mandatory trainings. There are 4 trainings, each of which are 90 minutes. The mandatory trainings are restorative practices, cultural proficiency, LGBTQ+, and then staff are able to self-select into a flex option of choice. The flex options are offered at a variety of times and locations to best accommodate teacher schedules. So to jump in a little bit further into the flex options, the first mandatory session is titled Breaking Bias and Binaries to Support LGBTQ Youth. The presenter we have is hosting all of the sessions. She has already conducted approximately 15 sessions. There will be over 40 sessions with one consistent presenter and message for all staff. The second mandatory flex option is on cultural proficiency. We have had a variety of presenters presenting the cultural proficiency strand. We have partnered with NJEA to help support professional development in this area, as well as with Barbara Moore Williams, who has supported training in the area of cultural proficiency for the district. The last mandatory session is in restorative practices. This is brand new to the district. We have partnered with Education Week in developing a module for all staff to participate in. The module includes a webinar, a guided reading of an article, and then an online quiz that staff must take at the end. This was developed in partnership with Education Week and is currently a model for others who partner with Ed Week. The last flex option is self-selected. We have staff who self-select into professional development opportunities that are offered by outside organizations and or by providers in which we have contracted with. All of the sessions are posted in what we call our flex option portal, where staff are able to self-select the sessions that are most appropriate for them based on their schedule. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mahan. Any questions from board members or comments? Okay, thank you. And we'll move on to our correspondence. Do any board members have correspondence they'd like to share? Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, just briefly, last Tuesday, had the opportunity to judge the regional competition of DECA in Cherry Hill. And there were a number of students from both Cherry Hill West and Cherry Hill East. As much as I would have loved to have judged those or some of those, that would have been a no-no, ethically, of course. I will say, though, that just seeing them there, especially all the Cherry Hill kids, that how incredibly well prepared all of the students were. And I know that they all look forward to the competition. The results were something that everyone here should be incredibly proud of. Cherry Hill essentially dominated the regional competition. Number of students and teams through from both Cherry Hill East and Cherry Hill West went through to the states. Qualified. That competition is in about 2 months, a little less than that. I'll be judging that one as well. But just, really, we just want to shout out to the kids for all the preparation that they did, showing how comfortable they are in this environment. The staff at the schools that help, the advisors, they've all done a great job. I did this last year, and I was really impressed with how motivated and how professional and just well presented these kids were. This year was no exception. Looking forward to seeing them again at States in Atlantic City.
That's great. Thank you. Mrs. Winters.
Just two quick things. I got to go to the 8th grade course of study night at Rosa Middle School, which was phenomenal. According to Mr. Guy, it was the most well-attended 8th grade course of study night he's seen in 10 years. We actually had to open up not just one, but 2 additional sets of bleachers to accommodate all the families that came to course of study night. I was really thrilled to see a lot of the stuff that the board has been working on really start to actualize, including our math pathways, which I think might be the most popular thing we've done in the past year. It's the one thing we can all agree on is a great first step. So seeing that up on the big screen and watching the 8th grade parents take that in, the new math options for their kids as they enter high school and the new opportunities it'll present was really exciting. I also got to stay and answer questions from families at the end, which was super fun because I have a current 9th grader. So I was where they are last year. So being able to just give them that parent perspective was great, but also to sort of be a fly on the wall and watch our phenomenal CNI staff answer questions from families, really detailed questions about the curriculum we have at the high schools, subject area expertise in mathematics and ELA and foreign language, all these things. I just really want to give a shout out to how well prepared and just enthusiastic and welcoming and inclusive our staff was. And I think it showed the community seems really happy. And I'm really looking forward to seeing all of their bright, shiny faces in either of our wonderful high schools, all 3 of our high schools next year.
And did you go to something today?
Oh, and I almost forgot. This morning, I braved the ice along with many kindergarten families to register their kids for kindergarten. It was the first day of K registration, which is one of my favorite days in all the world. I got to hang out with some incoming kindergartners who were really excited to color in the coloring books we had. It's just amazing to watch them on that cusp of coming into our school system and how excited they are. So shout out to the registration staff here at Lewis. They did a great job. Everybody was moving through quickly. And to the families who braved the weather to come get their kids registered. It really is wonderful. I understand it's a different process this year, that a lot of families were able to register online, which is more convenient, and that we're no longer doing it by school. So there are multiple registration days available for all families in the district, regardless of which elementary school you're districted to come register your kid, which I think is more convenient for families. Because I remember before it was challenging if you had to work on one of the days that your elementary school was registering, it became very stressful. So I think I'm hopeful that the new process this year where families can come on any of our registration days and register or register their child online will be more helpful for families who that was challenging for them before. So welcome to our kindergartners. I can't wait to see how many of them we get.
Thank you. That's great. Other board member correspondence? Anybody else? Well, Mrs. Winters, you did leave another one out, but it's been a few weeks since we were there. We went to the opening of the first day of preschool.
That's right.
You and I got the chance to go to, and Mr. Mayor, right? We all ended up at the, both out of just, well, out of
Private
off
provider,
practice, off-site.
private
off
provider
practice.
site.
At a provider, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sites. So, which was very exciting, lots of enthusiastic families, kids, really well done. Very, grateful for our provider sites who are partnering with us. So, definitely growing pains, definitely growing pains, but, very happy families and happy kids ready to learn. So, all right. And any more correspondence? Moving right along. We are now at our first public comment. There are 2 public comment opportunities this evening. The first public comment right now is for board action items only. So it's items 17 through 20 on our agenda. There will be another public comment period for any school-related or district-related topic at the end of our meeting. If you are a student in the district, you may comment on any agenda item or any item at all related to our schools during this first public comment period. If you are a student in our district, please, and you're online, please put an S after your name so that we know that you're a student. If you'd like to speak now, please identify the agenda item and clearly state your name and municipality. We will alternate between speakers who are here in the room at the podium and those who are online. Each speaker will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. The timer on the screen will indicate the amount of time that we have remaining. Public comment is an opportunity for members of the community to comment on matters relevant to the operations of Cherry Hill Public School District or within the authority of the Cherry Hill Board of Education. The board welcomes diverse opinions on relevant matters. Under established federal law governing reasonable restrictions on speech in public forums, statements which demean individual community members or groups or which are irrelevant to the operations of the school district or are repetitive will not be permitted. Community members who would like to present information not relevant to the school district are always welcome to communicate directly to the district superintendent, board president, and all board members via email or other alternative means. And 10 minutes later, I am done with my preamble. And now we actually have public comments. So if you are making a public comment now during our first public comment period, please approach the podium. I do not see any hands raised online for public comment. Okay. Thank you.
Ann
Know the drill.
Einhorn, Cherry Hill. 19.1, congratulations to Christy Robertson on her retirement from Cherry Hill West. I know that you'll sorely be missed. I have known you since you were a graduate from college, so we go back a long way. I do have a concern at 19.6 in special education. Once again, we're adding additional classes to already strained teachers. And this time it regards special ed. At what point are we going to try to resolve the issues? Though one may be paid, I am really concerned, and I brought this before, about burnout, and I'd like to know when the board might recognize that there is an issue. Thank you.
Okay. And we look online and I don't see any hands online. Go back to the room. If anyone would like to make a comment about the agenda item, please approach the podium. No one in the room and no one online, and we will close our first public comment. Now we will move on to our board work session. Mrs. Winters, could you please give the committee report?
I am happy to. Thank you so much. The CNI committee kicked off the year with our very first meeting on January 2nd at 7 o'clock. We had a few agenda items. Dr. Mahan first presented a research proposal that will be taking place on attendance and truancy. This will involve our staff, not our students, but she felt it was important to present it to the committee so that we could understand what was going on with the research project. The second, and this is something I alluded to earlier, was the course of study information, which is our eighth grader information and our high schoolers for the courses that they can take in either of our high schools next year. We talked about the updated course of study booklet, which is available online. If anybody is interested to look at that, families can see all the courses that are being offered. We talked about changes that are being made, including highlighting, of course, the math pathways, which I keep mentioning because it is really exciting that students will have opportunities to take classes in data science and the second pathway, quantitative literacy. Thank you so much, Dr. Morton. It was on the tip of my tongue and I didn't want to screw it up. Quantitative literacy starting next year. They're going to be the first course on the new pathways that we have. They can be taken at both the A and H levels combined so that students will have access to those. Students are also going to have the opportunity to jump across the pathways. So it's not completely linear anymore, that if you start with one track, then you're stuck there for the rest of your high school career. They'll get to experience different things. And each year as we build, different math courses will be added. And the hope is that this will open up access to upper level math courses for more students and make it more accessible for them. And this will be obviously accessible at both high schools, all three of our high schools as well. So that was really interesting. We also we had a conversation about world language. The committee talked about how world language is being offered at the high school level. And we talked about the teacher shortage in world language that has been going on and is impacting the courses that we offer. So we talked about the way that the languages are offered, and one comment that I had was that beginning next year, the only languages that are going to be offered at East and West both will be French and Spanish. The other languages that we offer will be only offered at one high school or the other. But then Dr. Morton also talked about the needs of each high school, that it's really, we think about, what's accessible, but also student interest. And that I thought was an interesting point that we brought up. Dr. Rude discussed the impact of world language on brain development and why it's so important. So the committee decided that we're going to take a deeper look at world language curriculum as one of the things we're looking at in 2024 going forward. So I'm looking forward to that as a committee because, of course, we didn't have enough to do. We'll have a little bit more to do on world language. So that was the information on that. The open houses are coming up at High School East and High School West for everybody to go and see what both of our high schools are all about and the strengths that each of them bring. I'm hoping to be at both to hang out with the families and see them. So I encourage everybody to join us and check out both of our high schools. Then we moved on to talking about summer programs. We talked about the ESY SAC summer camp campaign. We talked about college essay and SAT programs and summer enrichment classes, especially our music classes that take place. But never fear, if that's not enough, there will be more summer enrichment opportunities that we haven't even discussed yet that are coming up. So that is just a piece of what's coming for this summer going forward for our students in the district. And then the last thing was, because January 2nd was the first day of preschool expansion in our district, Dr. Mahan gave an update on our preschool expansion. We are working with 2 private provider sites. We're working with Mosaic Early Learning Center, which is in Oakland, and Discovery Corner, which is here in Cherry Hill. As Ms. Stern mentioned, I got the chance to visit both of those on January 2nd and greet our families coming in. They're both really phenomenal places. I was really impressed with the classrooms. Actually, at Mosaic, the entire top floor, it's 4 large, gorgeous classrooms for our Cherry Hill students, and they overlook a really nice playground. So I was really excited to see the playground, especially for our preschoolers, because gross motor play and outside play is such an important piece for kids at that age. It's how they learn. So I was excited about that. And Discovery Corner as well. I was really excited to be there. The director was enthusiastic about partnering with us. He gave me a tour of the whole facility, which is a lot bigger than it looks when you walk in the front. There's tons of space in the back, and he's already talking about how can we expand to partner with you guys further in future years. So I'm really excited about that opportunity. And also, if any preschool providers are listening, we're expanding out over 5 years. So come please partner with us, join us. We could always use more places to partner with so that we can serve more preschoolers in our community. So that is the CNI report, unless any committee members have anything I missed they would like to add. No, looks like I did a good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great report. And now we move on to Mr. Greenbaum for business and facilities.
Thank you. And please bear with me. I've been a little under the weather, so I don't have too much of a voice. So I will be as brief as I can with a whole lot of information. So our BNF committee meeting started with a budget audit. Mike Holt from Holt McNally presented the annual comprehensive financial report and corresponding audit. There'll be an action item for board members to vote at the January 23rd meeting. So any board members who wish to read the full report will still have a little more time to review. But it was his unmodified opinion. Financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects as of June 30th, 2023. This is the best possible rating with no findings or recommendations. The report will be published on the district website once the board has voted on it next week. And if anyone's impatient and wants to read it now, I believe it's also available on the NJDOE website. We also talked about critical HVAC work. This project will address critical HVAC needs at 11 of the district schools. This ensures consistency with equipment already purchased and seamless interface with HVAC controls previously installed, and gives the district the ability to order equipment in a timely manner to avoid supply chain issues. I believe this is going to be voted on during the special action agenda this evening. And lastly, I will give a very brief update on construction projects. So roofing projects, all work is completed. Some of the closeouts are still in progress, which includes warranties and paperwork. 2 of the 3 contracts, we actually have a credit change order resulting from unused allowances. I believe one is about 116,000, the other is 119,000. So it's always good when we underrun what we allocated and get some money back. Stadium at East, new lights went up last month, and getting ready to pour a slab for the home side bleachers, weather permitting. I don't think that happened yet. I'm guessing that's a no. With the visitors side expected a week after, also weather permitting. And bleachers are expected to arrive from the manufacturer on February 5th, I believe. APRs, the shop drawings are in progress. They're moving earth at the sites. You should see some work going on there. A vendor is selected for new playgrounds, which will go in following completion of site work after the new APRs are built. And our contractors are working with the township to comply with ordinances for outdoor lighting and light spill to neighboring areas. And lastly, at Carusi, starting to look into options to lease temporary classroom units or TCUs. Those are our trailers, looking at those for spring of 2025, going into 26 and 27. Developing a phasing plan for renovations and abatement. There's lots of moving parts and need to coordinate with different vendors in order to be able to move forward with minimum disruption. And getting ready to bid the project. We'll be voting to approve a resolution to submit specifications to the Office of State Controller. I believe that's this evening as well. And I think that about does it. And that's about the end of my voice as well. So that works out well. Any questions from other committee members or board members? Mr. Mayor.
Not a question, it's a comment, so you can save your voice by not having to answer. The audit is up on the DOE website. I took a look at it there. I just wanted to just again comment on how unusual it is to go through another series of audits that with no findings, no recommendations, and unusual in a very good way. It shows really the effort and expertise that the district and specifically Mrs. Sugars and her staff take to ensure fiscal responsibility and having it independently audited and confirmed, is important. It's obviously happy to see that, but just don't want it to go by as this is just a normal thing. It's not. It shows a great deal of care and of effort, and I just wanted to give a little shout out for that work.
Thank you. And I will add on to that. It is a normal thing. If you go back last year and the year before and the year before, all of our audits are posted on the district's website. And, it's really a testament to Mrs. Sugars and her department everything's always in order. We typically don't have findings or recommendations, and it's good to see that continue.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, it's not normal in the industry. Coming from a compliance world, I mean, my work was to address findings and recommendations and audits, and to see a series of them when a particular entity is just always getting it right is something to take note of and to commend when it's there. So great work.
Absolutely agreed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So this, of course, my first time reporting as HR chair is the night when Mrs. Lieber is online and not in the room. So Mrs. Lieber, I might be calling on you for some rescue assistance here. And I'm going to err on the side of caution because a lot of stuff we talk about with HR is confidential. So I will just share in a general sense. We did talk about just a number of brief updates, looked at some items that have been requested for us to review. We did talk, there are a number of pre-K positions that have been filled and are in process of being interviewed or filled, and you'll see on our agenda tonight a number that we are approving or hopefully approving, we're voting on. We also discussed, there's a job description that's on the agenda tonight, and that's for a lead related services job description. So I think in an effort to be efficient, but also provide the support that our staff need, we're talking a lot about hiring and retention being a key factor. We want to make sure our staff are supported and have the right people to go to. So we have related services providers in our district, such as speech therapists, occupational therapists, et cetera, who may not have a professional of their area and expertise to go to as kind of a consultant or there's a concern, a question to organize them and to help even with the scheduling. So that's fallen to other people under Mrs. Mallory's direction. So we are now being asked to approve a lead related services job description, which would be a stipended position. So it's minimal impact to our budget, but it gives a lot of bang for the buck in terms of supporting our occupational therapists, speech therapists, physical therapists, the folks who are serving our students with special needs, and making sure that they have someone, to go to and helping coordinate their work rather than kind of just being a general area that they go to. So that's, I think, a really good a recommendation that came to us that I hope that we can support. There is also we have an interim assistant position in the business department. So that position we've luckily secured, Mrs. Sugars has secured, is working very hard on that after Debbie Switansky has retired. So that luckily that's in process. So things will continue smoothly, hopefully, in Mrs. Sugar's department. I think that's all I can talk about. So any questions or comments? Okay, great. We move on to Mr. Mayor for policy and legislation.
Which will be particularly brief because the P&L committee did not meet in January. However, Mrs. Wellington is on the line. I'm not calling any to speak. Thank you for being there. We will begin to build out our agenda, which I anticipate will be active and filled for the February meeting sometime by the end of this week. So look forward to big, exciting P&L agenda moves next month.
Thank you. And now we move on to strategic planning, and Dr. Rood, if you have returned as the chair, which thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll try to keep this brief. Demographic study will begin this month. So just a reminder, this is in the past we've referred to the GRIP study. This is a renewal of that study. so looking at demographics within the district, which helps us with all kinds of planning stuff to know where are the kids that are going to be in school, now and in the future. Um, uh, we are also, let me see, January 11th, we'll be kicking off a communication audit. This is a big deal for the district. We'll be looking at all aspects of communication within the district. There will be a lot of opportunities for engagement from all stakeholders to kind of give feedback to make, and the company doing the audit will give recommendations to the district in terms of all things communication and how can we make improvements. So those are both really, really important things that will help the district make better decisions. You see the sustainability committee this month met with district architects and engineers and had a fruitful conversation about how all of the new construction will impact different things like energy usage, carbon footprint, all kinds of things around the idea of sustainability as the sustainability committee works to put together its sustainability plan, which hopefully we'll be seeing toward the end of the year or maybe sometime this summer. They're hard at work. The main topic of discussion for the night was technology and cell phones. Technology, of course, in the district is an enormous umbrella that covers a lot of things. We even have things coming in all the time, like now teachers and administrators are thinking about AI and all kinds of other things. But we focused largely on the use of personal tech in the classroom. So, that would be your personal iPads and cell phones. A lot of opinions when it comes to that topic. Cell phones and other tech can be used for good and also for ill. Some teachers, we stress the importance of teachers being able to kind of provide feedback to the administration on and to the board on policy stuff. So we're always interested to hear what teachers think. As per the conversation, there was a lot of discussion around how teachers should be able to kind of make their own decisions in their classroom as to whether or not they want to involve different tech things. Some students or teachers may even choose to have students use their cell phone somehow. Other teachers don't want cell phones on at all. And I know with my kid personally, sometimes she has to put it in a little pocket and a thing on the wall for some classes. The discussion was largely came up based on, from my understanding, some different things rippling through the community and different people's opinions on cell phone usage. I don't think anything officials come through our channel, so I'm not going to talk on that anymore. But this may be, I don't know if this is a place where people during the communication audit can say things. It's certainly a form of communication. We also talked about how technology and communication is an issue in terms of code of conduct and kind of disciplinary issues. As a lot of people know, cell phones are used for all of our social media, and sometimes that's a wonderful way to keep in touch with people. And unfortunately, sometimes it's a way that it's a medium that we've used to abuse each other. And so there was no policy or actions taken. This was just a meeting to kind of talk about the issues and kind of brainstorm and talk about things. And I think one of the, let me see, I'm just trying to make sure I get. Yeah, so I think one of the most important, most salient points that was made in my mind was that anytime we're kind of discussing, problems with the district or, issues within the district, it's really important for us to kind of define what the problem is, because if we can't define a problem, it's pretty hard to solve a problem. And I think that that needed to be said, I think, because it resonates with a lot of different things. Finally, let me see. from my notes, committee or from Lynn's notes. The committee will continue discussions around teacher and student feedback, toxic behavior online, policies on technology use and etiquette, and additional resources that are needed. And finally, public comment. We had a comment about technology usage by younger students and being mindful of creating a balance with free play and technology resources. And another comment, an appreciation of feedback from teachers, and they discussed how cell phone usage is used in other districts. Okay, that's it. Any questions, comments? Ms. Stern?
Yes, I think it's a really important conversation to have. I hear actually quite often from more at the secondary level, the disruptive nature of cell phones, whether they're being used to record when they're, which is actually a violation of our policy in our schools, whether students are spending a lot of time on them during classes. Something I even deal with my own kids at home, addressing that topic. I've had teachers that when I've been out in the schools, I've had teachers tell me it is an enormously, it's a major impact on their feeling about being a teacher because of how much time they spend addressing cell phone usage at the secondary level. It's really a big conversation, and I know it's coming up. Dr. Morton's involved in some conversations with it as well, with other groups. So I think we're at the beginning of, and I know it's nice to hear it's going on in strategic planning, but I will say I can't underestimate that. I mean, even the frustration sometimes of, being in our own meetings sometimes, and, people saying things, and it's like it's already been brought up because, we're all pulled in by our phones. I would say most of us are. So I appreciate that it's being addressed and looked at, and I think lots more discussion to be had. So thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, well, end there then.
Thank you. Okay, and now we're going to move on to our action agenda. And we go back to Mrs. Winters. Can you please move the C&I agenda?
Of course. The superintendent recommends, and I remove the following: 17.1, approval of attendance at conference and workshops for the 23-24 school year. 17.2, approval to amend ESEA and IDEA FY 23-24 budget to reflect carryover. 17.3, approval of professional service agreements for the 23-24 school year, CMSCE. 17.4, resolution to approve research study. And 17.5, approval of a professional service agreement for the 23-24 school year, Great Minds. Do I have a second? Ms. Stern, are there any questions? Seeing none, Ms. Sugars, can you please call the vote?
Okay, board members, you may cast your votes. The motion carries.
Okay. Mr. Greenbaum, can you please move the BNF agenda?
Thank you. The superintendent recommends, and I move the following. 18.1, approval of bill lists. 18.2, resolution for the award of transportation. 18.3, resolution for the award of change orders. 18.4, resolution to approve solicitor for school construction projects. 18.5, resolution authorizing purchase of selective critical HVAC replacements through CCESC cooperative pricing system. And 18.6, resolution authorizing all necessary actions for Carusi Middle School 24-26 bond referendum renovations. Do I have a second? Dr. Rude, any questions? Okay, Mrs. Sugars, please open the voting.
Board members, you may cast your votes. And the motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Now we move on to the human resources agenda. The acting superintendent recommends, and I'm Move the following. 19.1, termination of employment certificated. 19.2, termination of employment non-certificated. 19.3, appointments certificated. 19.4, appointments non-certificated. 19.5, assignment salary change non-certificated. 19.6, other compensation certificated. 19.7, non-certificated. I'm sorry, other compensation non-certificated. Do I have a second? Mrs. Winters, are there any questions? Mrs. Winters?
Just a comment, I want to recognize Mrs. Hawthorne, who's retiring. She's been the school nurse at Russell Knight Elementary School for over 30 years. So we were very sad to see Miss Hawthorne go. She is personally taking care of all three of my children and lots of other people's children while they're at night. I understand there are some parents who currently have children at night. She was the school nurse there when they went to that school as well. So thank you, Miss Hawthorne, for all your service to our kids, especially during the challenging pandemic years. We appreciate you and we will miss you, and enjoy your retirement.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from board members, questions? Okay, Mrs. Sugars, can you call the vote, please?
Board members, you may cast your votes. And the motion carries.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, can you please move the P&L agenda?
Of course, Superintendent recommends that I move the following: 20.1, approval of harassment, intimidation, and bullying investigation decisions. Item 20.2, also approval of harassment, intimidation, bullying investigation hearing decisions. 20.3, approval of harassment, intimidation, bullying investigation hearing decisions. Do I have a second? Mrs. Sherfain, are there any questions? Sure. So clarifying, there are the following specific by number vote. These are votes to reject the original decision on item number, student number 255480, and also to overturn student number 253641. That was a hearing. And student number 255622.
I'm sorry.
HIB number,
Miss-
not student number.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, I
I'm
thought I said
sorry.
it number.
I think we've had a late development with the hearing and we are, right, that was the hearing that, yes, this evening, or is that the previous? Okay, sorry. I was just clarifying. Thank you. Sorry. Continue on.
That's it.
Sorry.
Yeah, those are the clarifications. Okay, no other questions. Mrs. Sugars, would you open the voting?
Board members, you may cast your votes.
So I have to abstain on 20.2 and 20.3.
Mrs. Sugars, I need to abstain from the same 20.2 and 20.3 since I was absent.
Yes, I will abstain from 20.2 and 20.3 as well.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. And we have nothing to move for strategic planning. So now we move on to new business. Is there any new business? Okay, board members, move on to old business. Is there any old business? Okay. I'm not going to jinx it, but we are at the second public comment. So if you would like to speak now, this is our second public comment. section in which you can make a public comment on any school or district related topic. If you'd like to speak now, please state your name and municipality. We will alternate between speakers who are here in the room and those who are online. Each speaker will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. The timer on the screen will indicate the amount of time you have remaining. Public comment is an opportunity for members of the community to comment on matters relevant to the operations of Cherry Hill Public School District or within the authority of the Cherry Hill Board of Education. The board welcomes diverse opinions on relevant matters. Under established federal law governing reasonable restrictions on speech in public forums, statements which demean individual community members or groups or which are irrelevant to the operations of the school district or are repetitive will not be permitted. Community members who would like to present information not relevant to the school district are always welcome to communicate directly to the district superintendent, board president, and all board members via email or other alternative means. If you are a student in the district and you would like to speak, we would ask that you come up to the podium or first, if you'd like to speak tonight. If you are online and you're a student in the district, please put an S after your name so that we know to call on you first. Okay, so you can please approach the podium and state your name and your municipality.
Always nice to get student benefits. Yeah, that's nice. Hi, my name is Nora Eldin Raja. I'm a senior at East. You guys probably have seen me more than enough times. You guys probably recognize me. I just wanted to point out how, like I said, I'm a senior and we're about to get into our second semester. So I'm basically done, being in the Cherry Hill Public Schools. So I just wanted to, before I leave, I wanted to make sure that Muslims, students alike, get the, appreciation that they deserve and I highly recommend before I leave, that Muslim students need to get like teachings about how to, combat Islamophobia, throughout all of Cherry Hill. And my mom was mentioning to me many, many times that, she kept emailing you, Dr. Morin, specifically about how, what curriculums to put in to combat Islamophobia. And I don't want to leave the district knowing that I could have done something to help the community more, because I love this community. In the future, hopefully, if I get married, hopefully, I'm gonna bring my kids to Cherry Hill Public Schools. So they know this is a great community. I want to do the best I could to give back because, this community gave me everything. So before I leave, I want to make sure that the younger, the freshmen, the sophomore, the middle schools, the elementary schools, have curriculums and programs to show that that they're there for them. Because I've accepted, at East, I was one of the kids that stood up and was very outspoken and vocal. However, I understand that there's not that many people that are maybe scared or, they don't want to get all the attention, to stand up for themselves. So I would like it if there are curriculums there for them that are, a little scared for that, because I guarantee there has been a lot of cases that have not been presented up to you because the student's just too scared or too, not vocal enough and doesn't want the attention. So I think there should be programs and there should be teachings for that, just to show that they don't need to be, they're not different than anybody else, So like I said, I would love it by the time I bring my kids to these public schools, there's curriculums there for them, and like I said, it's basically my last year. I have, a few more months left in this district, in this community. I'm going to be going off. I'm still going to be living here, but, I'm not going to be going to schools no more, which I'm going to miss it a lot. But, I would love it for there to be some programs for people like me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, looking online, it doesn't look like there are any hands. There's I take it back. A hand just went up. A hand, it's indicated as Z. So Z, if you could please state your full name, first and last name, and your municipality.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Please
I'm
state
sorry.
your
Okay.
full name and your municipality.
Hi, thank you. It's Zhuzha Doherty from Cherry Hill as well. Just wanted to provide message of support for Nora's statement as well. We're looking for the training for Islamophobia specifically for a date that when this can happen. Just want to remind the board as well that my son spoke maybe a few weeks ago with some of the other students. Just want to remind the board and the community that, not everyone is born necessarily into their faith of choice. And there are some, students that or young people that may convert into certain faiths. So just all of the diversity training and the specifically the Islamophobia does affect some families like ours, where we do have members of the family that have converted. And this would be new territory for us, and we really do appreciate a decision on the support for the training that has yet to be announced. Thank you so much.
Okay, when we go back to the room, if there's anyone who'd like to speak, please approach the podium.
Not a student.
Well, it looks like the students may be done. So unless there are if there are any other students, please come up now if you'd like to speak. Okay. If you could please state your name and municipality.
My name is Constance Lee from Collingswood, but with young grandchildren in Cherry Hill. Again, on curriculum tonight, follow up in a way. I'd like to address the choice of course content materials and how it is done and whether the content is balanced both in breadth, in coverage, and opposing viewpoints. I see, and this is an example, the lack of balance in the required African American history course. White privilege and white supremacy mentioned in the course PowerPoints require balance and context. This is a controversial topic. It is not shared by all in the same way. It is complicated. It is not one-sided. The course objectives read, after students finish this unit, they will leave with a sense that they can make change through the power of their voice. Students will learn about a variety of historical and current movements of activism, in addition to notable activists both past and present. In addition, students learn how activism can be enacted through arts, music, cultural expression, protest, and policy. This is all well and good, but controversial concepts like protest incite fervor and has unintended consequences. Just look at recent years with $2 billion damage and $2 million damage in protesters during the summer of 2020, or the January 6 protesters still sitting in prison awaiting trial. In both groups, many were young adults. Who picks up the pieces when the protests turn to riots and the riots go south? The schools are not in view by anymore with that. Activism through protest requires objectivity and balance within a historic presentation supported by facts and within context. This is K through 12 public education. Students' critical thinking skills are not yet honed, a point I feel very strongly about. They need to be taught how to think and not what to think. Moreover, if you teach activism per se, it's even more sensitive to associate it with one racial group. Incorporate several examples of activism, lump all into US history within the chronology, and be sure the examples are inclusive, whether racial, religious, gender, etc. This way, all sides are presented and all groups represented. Further, I see it problematic to have a separate course to one racial group. It sets up the privilege of one race over another. What about a course in the Jewish American experience or Native American history? And then where do you stop? Asian Americans since World War II, or the challenge of Muslim Americans since 2001. Let's focus more on the inclusion of the DEI and less on diversity. Now, in subsequent board meetings, I will propose some ideas and some solutions focusing on breadth of coverage and balanced viewpoints. During my 35-year career in higher education publishing and as a senior commissioning editor, I identified authors of textbooks and professional books. I published the leading book in African American music. I also managed gender and diversity in the classroom, the elementary school classroom, and I've worked with hundreds of professors and administrators on developing course content. My heart truly is in the right place, and I know you have difficult challenges. I believe your hearts are in the right place as well as mine. And in that vein, I look forward to discussing this further this year. Thank you very much.
Okay. We go now to the line. Alana Yaras, if you could please state your name and municipality.
Alana Yaris, Cherry Hill. I just want to remind the board that there are 12 elementary schools in the district and only 10 of them currently have special education programs offered at them. if one doing the demographic study or in doing your board work, it can be looked at to see how the programs that are only offered at one elementary school for special ed students can be moved to centralized elementary schools and not be held on far east side schools, so that those who live on the far west side of town do not have to be bused completely across town. And if it can be looked at to see how Kilmer and Barton, the two elementary schools that are the largest in the district, the farthest west, and do not have special ed programs, can house special ed programs so that those families who are zoned to those elementary schools, including living by the mall and far out on 38, and their closest elementary schools that they can be zoned to for special ed services are Payne or Kingston or Arc, which have full programs usually, and then they need to be bused to the east side, could be looked at so that it's equitable for those on the west side of town who have special ed students and need the services, so that they can continue to receive the same services that they're currently receiving at their home elementary schools. I would also like you to take a look at the policy that if you are in a special ed self-contained class, once your IEP states that you no longer need to be in that class, you are no longer welcome to that elementary school if it is not your home elementary school. So there are special ed students who graduate from the program and can go into a mainstream inclusion classroom and then get kicked back out to their home elementary school. So one of my children has a friend who went to Kingston and graduated from their special ed class and then was moved to Kilmer. And although she's made friends, she didn't necessarily know everyone in the neighborhood. And she had a hard time making friends as a special ed student and had to start over again in second grade. If this can please be looked at so that there is compensation involved in students being able to continue in the school that they started in besides open enrollment, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay, we go back to the room. If anyone would like to speak, please approach the podium. Okay. You could please state your name and municipality.
Sure. My name is Janam Salem, Cherry Hill. I hope I don't go, I don't think I need the 3 minutes, but I just wanted to give you my impression as a mother who had 4 children go through this district. I think that a lot of the stereotypes that are used against Muslims in particular, it's something that needs to be addressed. We've been asking for this for quite a long time, and I really think it's time that we implement this. We've been asking for Islamophobia training. We still haven't gotten an answer about that, and I'm disappointed, to say the least. The environment in the schools, not that they're a horrible environment. I just think the environment needs to be a little bit more towards giving the Muslim students, as in particular, a sense of pride. This month is actually Muslim Heritage Month, declared by Governor Murphy since last year, and very few people knew about that. So, I mean, I reached out to East and asked if, we could put, just to give the Muslim students a sense of pride in who they are, and not to feel like, we're kind of, put on the back burner or anything like that. Every single culture deserves to be proud of who they are, and not feel like, okay, we're the ones that people have negative attitudes about or negative stereotypes about. I also wanted to say that there should be some implementation of restorative practices in the schools. I mean, I remember back in December, you were talking about a program that was implemented at West, and it was very successful, which I think, would really be at least a very good start, just to give the students a sense of like, it's not okay to treat other students this way. You're not going to change people's minds, maybe, if they have that racist mindset, God help them. But if that's the way they are, that's the way they are. But at school, and especially in our schools, there should be mutual respect among the students. There should never be, it's not okay to treat any student as if they're inferior or in any way. So I would really hope that happens. I mean, I was I had so much hope for the future when, in East, they brought the kids together and they had a meeting. Then that never got followed up. So I would appreciate, or I think every parent in the district would, that the students actually communicate with one another, that they're not just, you're on your side, I'm on my side, I won't bother you, you don't bother me. That's not the environment we want. We want a more inclusive, diverse environment where every student feels comfortable, every single one of them, regardless of where they're from or who they are.
Okay. And we go to the line and there's a hand raised and it says iPhone. So iPhone, I'm not sure who you are. If you could please say your full name, first and last name, and your municipality.
Okay, can you hear me? Laurie Neary, Cherry Hill.
Yes.
I have two comments. First, regarding the cell phones and a bit of a cautionary tale. Much like the lunch policy, you don't necessarily have a policy problem as much as an enforcement of existing policies and support for the enforcement of existing policies as an operational issue. So I just caution the board in that when they're reviewing how much is really the daily operation and what truly is a policy challenge. Second would be around the world language at CNI. And I just ask that they take a step back and the board and the district look holistically, not just at what is the enrollment for world language at a particular school, because it does become a self-fulfilling prophecy and a self-feeding problem. A student that may be interested in the Chinese language may also be interested in other classes that are no longer offered. Therefore, they enroll at, say, East if it's offered there. And therefore, the enrollment continues to decline in that language class as well as other classes, and their only access becomes the other school. And while, as long as you maintain open enrollment, you may have a equitable access. If you didn't, you don't have that anymore. And then students wouldn't have a way to access those opportunities. And it also continues to drive a disparity, right? If we don't offer those things at both, then our students have to go there and they're just no longer going to make the other choice. Other classes will be offered. So it's not just about a world language class, but it's the classes broadly and what's accessible. And if they have to go to one school to get it, they're no longer even going to look to the other. So it can't be looked in a silo. I think you have to look holistically what's offered and ensure that there's access to the students can get them at both schools and they're not forced to an opportunity only at the one. Or if there are activities associated with said classes, that they are available to those students so that then they're not forced into a choice because it is only available there. It just cannibalizes one over the other. And we need to look at it holistically and not just at language class enrollment. Thank you.
Okay, we go back to the room. If you could please state your name and your municipality.
My name is Amina Ahmed. I am the Muslims for Justice advocate. I work with Cherry Hill Muslim students at GCLEA. I'd like to thank you for your attention tonight as I address you and for all of the work that you do for our district. I'd like to begin by appreciating and applauding the effort that was taken to implement the anti-Semitism training in December. The district moved quickly, swiftly, and fulfilled their role in identifying subgroups within our district that are vulnerable to adverse behavior during this time of political tension. And they implemented a training which serves as a preventative measure and protects students from harassment. We feel that that is truly how things should be. And subsequently, I'd like to ask about an update to the Islamophobia training that was promised for the month of January to the Muslim community. Admittedly, the community is quite disappointed because we have received no communication or an update about this training. I'd like to go a little bit into why this training means so much to our community. I'd like to begin that by answering the question, what is an Islamophobia training? It is not preaching of a religion. It is not endorsing a political viewpoint. Rather, it is cultural sensitivity training in which attendees may learn the values, the lifestyle, the circumstances that American Muslim populations faces today. And the hope is that through learning just this information, the individuals who are in charge of our students for 7 to 8 hours every day. The individuals who are charged with responsibility, the extremely important responsibility of teaching and educating our young ones every single day, will have a holistic understanding of our children. Perhaps our children are not able to provide that understanding themselves to their teachers and to those who are responsible for them. That's why we as a community, their parents and their advocates, feel a responsibility to provide those resources to the district. And we have hope that the district will welcome those resources and implement them. I believe that as public servants, all of you understand a aspect of hate, the emotion of hate, and that is that it actually comes from a separate emotion, which is fear. Human beings naturally fear that which they do not understand and that which they do not know. And our community, commonly being a target of hate, has come to understand this. We do not hold anyone who has targeted that type of emotion towards us to have malice towards us, but rather to have a lack of understanding and a lack of a knowledge of who we are. So we stand here today as a community wishing to be known, wishing to be understood, and ready to provide every resource within our capacity so that that may become a reality. Thank you.
Okay, we go back to the line and it's a name, Jim. If you could please state your full name and your municipality.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Jim Neary, Cherry Hill. So I just wanted to comment this evening. I mean, as of tonight, we still have 8 board members sitting around the table. We've also had a significant lack of transparency or update on the process for a new board member being selected for the community. Given one of the main goals of board members is maintaining and the direction of the superintendent, and we are charging full steam ahead with the superintendent search and interviewing superintendent candidates within the next few weeks, I would just, like some information perhaps, or warn the board that if you are charging ahead without finding a new member, are you inadvertently stripping that member who you select once you finally selected them of the ability to make a decision or weigh in on the superintendent? If they have missed a significant amount of the process, will they be required to recuse? I think that that's something the board should look into before they go full steam ahead, first round interviews, to make sure that they're not shorting themselves the input of an additional member and therefore leaving it a even number should your decision come to a half-half. If you have 8 members, that 9th member may be the tiebreaker that you need to make the right decision. So I just was looking to put it out there that perhaps an update to the community would be nice on the process of choosing the new board member. Since nothing has come out, it hasn't been mentioned at any board meetings. The only information that really seems to have been put out was in the newspaper, in the lobby of the mall or the Lewis building, and then one post on social media. So it would be nice if the board could be a little bit more transparent with the process. Thanks. Have a great night.
Okay, we go back to the room. On the podium, please. You can state your
Hi.
full name and your municipality, please.
Sabrine Barakat, Cherry Hill. My children attend Beck and East. They have been harassed and bullied. They have been called a terrorist, terrorist sympathizer, and bomber. All Muslims should die was also said to my daughter. Being called a terrorist and bomber at Cherry Hill Public Schools is the normal for a Muslim student, yet nothing's being done. Schools should have policies against such behavior to maintain a safe and inclusive environment for all students. All students should feel comfortable to speak to a teacher or staff member when being called names or feeling unsafe. It is important in addressing and rectifying the issues rather than dismissing them. This has affected their mental well-being and work ethic. There's a lot of misunderstanding about Muslims. I wish there was a meaningful way to educate both staff and students about Muslims, fostering understanding and dispelling misconceptions within the school community. The schools carry an unsettling atmosphere, a mix of uneasy feelings and tension, creating an environment with unresolved emotions between the students. I hope that someone would take notice and initiate meaningful action to address the issue, longing for positive change in the school environment. Thank you.
Okay, we go back to the line. I don't see any hands up online, so we go back to the room. If you could please state, if you'd like to speak, please come to the podium. Please state your full name and your municipality if you'd like to speak.
My name is Nayaz Hussain. I'm a resident of Cherry Hill, and I'm proud father of a Cherry Hill student. It's a great opportunity and honor for me to be here to talk with the board members and the community members. Some points have already been discussed. I don't want to waste the time for that, but I will add some comments. One thing, the Islamophobia, and second thing, the Muslim Heritage Month. So the question is, why this Islamophobia generates? Who is responsible for that? But I believe that we are responsible for that. We Muslims and follower of other religions, particularly parents, Muslims, and unfortunately, I have to say some teachers also. Those give the fuel to these things. And this hate, this generate the hates and disrespect, dishonor among our future, or among those, I mean, our kids, our students. We have to keep them united. We have to keep them to love each other. And the main thing, we have to teach them, parents, students, and community, that the human beings are deserve to be respected. No matter what religion, what ethnic, what community, every human being is the creation of Almighty Allah. We all are created equally. And second thing, we all are the offsprings of Adam and his wife. So I will like to request the Board of Education members that there should be some interfaith meetings and discussions, provided that they just discuss the similarities. So this will, I think, help to diffuse this thinking about any religion. We all are human beings, everybody is respected, and particularly our kids should not feel that this is a poison for them, this is a poison for our community, this is a poison for our future generation. So this thing should be diffused and give equal respects to every student, regardless of color and anything. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we look online. I don't see any other hands online. If there's anybody else who'd like to speak in the room, if you could please approach the podium now. Okay. Okay, if you could please state your full name and municipality.
Sure. Eric Tien, resident and parent of Cherry Hill. I wanted to congratulate the board on successfully completing their training on the new face of anti-Semitism. I believe equipping our faculty and staff with the right knowledge is key to navigating the difficult circumstances they may find themselves in today. In parallel, I would like to ask Dr. Morton and the board for an update on the Islamophobia training. Specifically, has this been scheduled and has a speaker been identified to lead it? It is important that the staff have a full understanding of the issue at hand. I'd like to point out that the anti-Semitism training was quickly arranged, and we as a community are watching closely to ensure equitable treatment is given to the topic of Islamophobia. Lastly, I asked about the CPEACE committee last meeting. I don't think Dr. Morton was able to give me an answer. I'm hoping to get an update from him on whether that is still an active committee and how members of the community can actually get involved. Thank you.
Okay, and we have no hands online. If you'd like to speak, please approach the podium, state your full name and your municipality.
Hello, my name is Omar Rashid. I'm from Cherry Hill. I'm not going to take too much time. I'm basically just going to repeat the concerns of my community. We were promised Islamophobia training, sensitivity training in January. It's currently the 16th, and we're still waiting. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. If there's anyone else who'd like to speak, please state your full, I'm sorry, please approach the podium, state your full name and municipality.
Hi, I'm Zainab Ozdener, and I live in Cherry Hill 08003. I just want to say congratulations to board member Renee for getting started, and also to Miriam Stern and Joel Mayer. Sorry, no glasses today. I know you guys just got appointed too, so congrats. We look forward to seeing, all your faces here. I just wanted to say that I know that what I noticed being an American for this many years, because I am originally an immigrant, is people who aren't racist don't always understand how pressing the issue can be. So I understand that Islamophobia training has been delayed, but for you guys to kind of understand why we're so concerned about it as a community is, recently Trump has been, and this isn't anything about like the election or whether you vote for him or your reasoning, but he has been getting
I'm
like,
sorry, I have to ask you, can you just make sure you keep it specific to our schools? Thank you.
promise. I just want to make a note that there are like influencers that are saying they're proud Islamophobes like online, and it's very concerning. And I mean, I know it's not really directly related to the school, so I apologize, but I just want to remind you guys that it is a really pressing issue, that very often people can use that almost a platform to garner support, and that does make us like kind of scared. So when you take into account all the bullying and like the harassment that happens to Muslim students as well, not just in Cherry Hill, I'm sure all around the country, it would mean a lot to us if we did get something on the books. And I hope you guys like continue to work with our community to do that. Because it is very concerning, like reading things like that on the news, and then, in conjunction with what's happening in our school district. So I just wanted to give you guys like a little nudge. Thank you.
Okay. No other hands online still. If there's anybody else who'd like to speak, please do so now. Approach the podium. Thank you.
Ann Einhorn, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. So I'd like to talk about the communications issue. At 9:30 last night, I pulled up your district-wide calendar, and this meeting is not even listed as rescheduled. So I don't know how people were supposed to know that it was rescheduled. I called Janet Cohen today and said, is there still a meeting this evening? I don't know what to tell you, but this communication issue is awful. Knew nothing about your meeting on January the 8th. I don't care where you published it. All right. It's not on your district calendar. Where are the open houses for the high schools? It's not in your district calendar. The registration for kindergarten absolutely should be on this calendar. Not everyone has a student in the system that they're working through the programs that you have provide for parents and staff. Really, really disappointing. Okay, that we cannot find out information just by pulling up a calendar. There's nothing on here. And I don't understand why that is. So I'm glad you're doing the communications office audit because it's desperately needed, because people don't have a way to find out what you're doing. And that's not fair to us ever. If we take the time to show up at this mic to directly speak to the board, there also should be some recognition, at least by picking up your head every now and then, that someone's speaking, which I noticed this evening was quite prominent. I would like to know that when questions are asked at this microphone, when do they get answered? I had 5 questions last month, still don't have an answer. I don't really want a personal answer. There has to be a way, if we're going to talk communications, that it goes on, I don't know, the question thing on your website, like such and such asked this question, here's the answer. 3 minutes is a really pitiful, poor amount of time to express anything at this mic. But at this point in time, with this veil of transparency, it's a veil. There are a lot of us out here in the public who really want to serve this community as an individual. We can't find out anything, and I'd like to know why. And I would like to know, where's the job description for the lead related service position? I couldn't find it on your district website. Thank you.
Okay, still no hands online. We go back to the room. If there's anyone who'd like to speak, please approach the podium. Please say your full name and your municipality.
Hi there. Hi there. My name is Mohammed Iqbal, and I'm one of the friends of GCLEA from Cherry Hill. And I just want to reciprocate their concerns, how their children are feeling discriminated at Cherry Hill School District. And just want to emphasize the importance of Islamophobia training in your public school district. And this is just like a bottom grassroots level. Islamophobia, just to bring to your attention, is being recognized and it's becoming a legislation in New Jersey Capitol as of now. So so the state of New Jersey is one of the first states that actually recognize what is Islamophobia, and there's a legislation right now that is going to get accepted, just like how anti-Semitism got accepted as a hateful crime that shouldn't be encouraged. So we are going in the same direction. So that comes from the legislation, and of course the Muslim Heritage Month, what we are talking about. So this is one of the first states that is also a recognized Muslim Heritage Month in honor of Muslims, immigrant Muslims or Black Muslims that came 400 years during the times of slavery. So Muslims were there. The whole White House was built by Black Muslims to an extent. So this kind of education is extremely important. So it's not just Islamophobia, but also the contributions to Muslim community, what has given to American society, and that has to be done right here at Cherry Hill Township as well. I'm sure whatever I just said to you is news as well, and I can excuse that just because there's no interaction, and that's why you guys knew about it as of now. But as Miss Miriam, as you have that sticker on your laptop, no hate. So be it Islamophobia or anti-Semitism or LGBTQ education or whatever, male, female, gender issues, we have went through so many disparities in in our communities, right? So at the end of the day, no hate. So we cannot tolerate hate. So if Islamophobia sounds hard to you implement, let's see that there shouldn't be any differences between human beings, between kids, and we raise responsible citizens. As one of the first student who said he will be graduating, my concern is, yeah, he was saying he want to raise his kids, but that's like 20 years from now. But I want to make sure the action happens right now, as soon as possible, especially in the situation where we are living in. Thank you very much.
Okay, no hands online. Nora, I know you had a turn already, so we're having one per person for public comment.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you, but you would love for you to email us.
Sure.
We'd love to hear from you. So if you would kindly email us,
Gotcha.
and if you need, you can come after the meeting, and I'm happy to give you our email addresses. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Any other public comment? Anybody else who'd like to speak? If you so, please approach the podium. No hands online. No one's at the podium. I'm going to close public comment. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Morton for acting superintendent's comments.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stern. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who came out and expressed their viewpoints and perspectives. It's always appreciated to have you come out and to vocalize your concerns and advocate for your position. We have not yet been able to identify a date for Islamophobia training. We are 100% committed to doing that. I think it's important for us to be able to identify the proper organization to come and to be able to provide that training with staff. I take personal responsibility for making sure that anyone who comes and presents to the staff is vetted through me. And it's something that, I can guarantee. It's something that, I believe the message is online and commensurate with the communication that we want to have go forward. So for me, it's about understanding, it's about education, it's about information, it's about awareness. And that's what it's all about. That's what is being described today as well. We're committed to it. We will schedule the training as soon as we identify the organization. I do have a few meetings coming up in the next few weeks to work with various groups to see if they can provide for us what would be most beneficial for our community. So definitely want to say that. Thank you to the community for your flexibility. I know the last couple weeks there have been some inclement weather, so thank you. You know, when we have to schedule alterations to our day, delayed opening today, we actually scheduled for a delayed opening tomorrow. We did move the board meeting last week out of an abundance of caution. Our first and primary responsibility is the safety of our students, safety of our personnel, and of everyone in the community. So that's where we tend to err on the side of caution. Our CPEACE committee is still active. The CPEACE committee actually has a community meeting scheduled for March 7th. More information will be forthcoming about that meeting, but it's open to the entire community to attend that meeting. This month is the first New Jersey Muslim Heritage Month. Congratulations and kudos to everyone who's celebrating. You know, I loved Governor Murphy's statement about the month in and of itself. And part of the statement, I'll read a quote. He says, "New Jersey takes great pride in its diversity and will continue to recognize and celebrate the positive impacts that Muslims have made and continue to make, and continue to make to the advancement of this state." It's about all of us collectively. You know, each individual component of this community comes together and makes us one community, makes us one state, and that's what makes us special. But it's important for us to teach. There was a question or a comment earlier that spoke to the need for African American studies or Asian American studies or specific ethnic studies, as we call it. Again, it's about education and awareness. It's through education and awareness that we are able to reduce ignorance. And ignorance is where we don't know about one another, we make misconceptions, and that's where the problems surface. But nonetheless, the important thing is happy Muslim Heritage Month to all celebrating. So Ms. Winters talked a bit about it. The high school transition process has begun. It's a comprehensive and expansive process. We begun with course of study nights at the middle schools. At each of the middle schools, Carusi, Beck, and Rosa, we had the largest audiences that we've ever had. The community has turned out in full force. And again, I had posted on Twitter, but it was, you know, on X, I'm sorry, not Twitter, but it was a reminder just of the passion that our community has and the value for education. So we definitely appreciate everyone who came out. Our counselors had an opportunity to go out and visit students at the middle schools, and we'll be following up with the high school open houses. High School West is scheduled for the 24th, and High School East is scheduled for February 1st at 7 p.m. Please come out. It's a very fun night, very active. Get an opportunity to interact with staff, students, and with the entire community. It was also wonderful to begin the process of registering new kindergartners, new students who are coming. We had a 2-hour delay today, but there were families outside at 8 a.m. this morning who braved the weather and who were so excited to begin that process as well. So it's always an exciting thing. Absolutely. I was thrilled to take part in our preschool expansion commencement as well. I had an opportunity to visit both sites and just watch the kids having a chance to interact with one another and play in their new spaces and in their new classrooms. On Friday at High School East, they celebrated Unity Day. There's a picture actually from the day. It's a picture of kids who were in attendance. It was a really nice day. It was an opportunity, it occurred after school, but an opportunity to focus on Dr. Martin Luther King's message. It's a message about, you know, courage and civility, and a message about service as well. Very important topics and very important for us. You know, unity is something that we decide to do. It's a decision to come together and work together and stay together. Inherently, we're different. You know, that's what diversity is all about. But inclusion, belonging, unity, these are decisions that we make to come together. I appreciate all the kids. It was a diverse group of kids that were there from High School East and High School West. I appreciate all those kids who were there, unified in a desire to see us across the district come together. With that being said, I think, so yesterday we celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King Day as well. One of my favorite historical figures. But you think about the selfless sacrifice, the volunteer time, and just the service that he gave, provides an ongoing reminder and lesson for us all, just to give back, and that spirit of giving and that ideology of giving provides a lasting legacy. I'll finish my comments in saying that with the idea of giving and volunteering of time, I also want to recognize our school board members this month. This month of January is School Board Recognition Month. These are volunteer positions. You are volunteers as well. So thank you for your service and your sacrifice of your time. And thank you to your families as well.
Yeah, they're the ones who are probably need more of a thanks than we do. Thank you, Dr. Morton. Before we end and move into our second exec, I do want to mention we've been emailed a reminder, and I think it's really important for us to share this consistently, that there is a fair funding meeting, which is on the 18th. It's this Thursday at 7:00 on Zoom. For anyone who wants to see the future of our school district continue to be bright and brighter than it's been. A lot of that is the fact that we've just been finally getting towards finally gotten our fair share, so to speak, of funding from the state when we were underfunded for so long. Those of you who know me, I've been beating that drum for a long time, and many of us have. We are getting, finally getting more funding, which is allowing us to hire more special education teachers and expand our special education program and expand our other offerings, and really address so many challenges that we've been facing for so long that we haven't had the staffing or the budget to address. But that's always on the chopping block every year. It's budget season, as Mrs. Sugars is now deep into it. It's budget season for us, which means it's because it's budget season at the state level. So we always want to thank our legislators for all the support they've given it for our budget, for our preschool expansion grant, for the ROD grants we've gotten. And we also need to keep having our voices heard at the state level, why it's really important that we continue to be properly funded after so many years of being so severely underfunded. And apparently it's being talked about that the state is considering what they call fixing quote unquote, the funding formula. So if you're interested at all, we really need advocates there. We really need engagement from our community to continue. There are people in this room who've been very engaged, and we thank you. We want to thank the people who continue to be at the top of that and leading the way. So please, if you're interested, the fair funding chps@gmail.com is the email address for the fair funding group, and it's through our zone PTA. So I hope to God that information's on our website. I don't know if it is, so I don't want to say for sure, but we can certainly work on that if it's not. So, but at least we have the email address out there. Okay. So with that said, that's the last thing I wanted to mention. And we are now going to move into our second executive session. So I make a motion to convene our executive session. Do I have a second? Does anybody want to go to executive session? Mr. Greenbaum, all reluctantly in favor? Say aye, motion carries, and thank you. And we will not be taking any action in our after we conclude. Thank you, Mr. Green. I almost said Greenbaum. Thank you very much for helping us. There will be no action taken in our second exec. Okay. Good night.